Welcome everybody to the Utah Story Show. We have a very jam-packed episode for you today. We're going to be talking about the giant corporate handouts that PPP turned into. Wasn't exactly how they imagined it and the fallout due to that. Employees not wanting to work, to increasingly generous government benefits and handouts. It's a problem for small businesses. A lot of employees just want to stay home. Utah's reopening our economy on May 1st. If you're watching this after May 1st, you'll still want to hear about what's going to happen with that. And then talking to downtown restaurant owner Ryan Peterson of Diversion Eatery about how he's doing amid the COVID outbreak and what he's doing to reopen his restaurant as soon as he gets back open. So we got a lot to talk about. Let's get right to it. But before we get to the show, I want to tell you about one of our amazing advertisers. The Utah Story Show is brought to you in part by Campers Reparadise. So we discovered this place about 5 years ago, and they had a pretty small shop at the time. They are blowing up, building out Sprinter vans, Airstream trailers, and custom trailers. They basically take any kind of small space that you want to use to either in your backyard as a getaway or as a vacation trailer to pull behind your vehicle, and they just make it absolutely incredible. They do a really great job, custom build-outs. Here's a photograph of their ad. I just highly recommend if you're in the market for making an incredible place for you and your family to go enjoy the national parks, to go around the country in, go check out Camper Reparadise. They're on Google them, and tell them you found them from the Utah Story Show. All right, with that, let's get right to the program. So the giant corporate handouts that were given through what was supposed to be intended for small businesses. We reported on that in a couple episodes ago. I want to tell you what the fallout has been from that. From a Forbes article on April 20th, we learned that 71 publicly traded corporations, they're traded on the New York Stock Exchange, received funding totaling over $10 million. Companies like Shake Shack, that has a market cap of $1.6 billion. Shake Shack received $10 million. The corporations in tandem received $300 million. The latest updates are that they're having to give back a lot of this money. Shake Shack volunteered due to the public fallout of them receiving so much money. They just said, rather than deal with the backlash that we shouldn't have qualified, we're just going to give that money back. Other places like Potbelly and a place called J. Alexander's, they also received money. They're not giving it back. So the government's like, oh, whoops. Marco Rubio from Florida inserted the ability for chain restaurants to individually apply for each location they have. And so they ended up receiving millions and millions of dollars, while ma and pa shops who don't have the savvy financial expertise or accounting expertise, we're not working with, amazing CPAs necessarily. A lot of them ran out of money before the funding was over with. And then I learned also you really needed to have an existing bank relationship and to be sponsored by a banker to even really qualify from the last round. So a lot of mom and pa operations don't have like a banker on speed dial on their phone, and they would just sort of get in line, hope for the best. And so a lot of this funding did not go where it intended to go. Why this is such a big deal? Because the smallest restaurants and bars make up our social fabric in our local communities. When was the last time you went to Cheesecake Factory and thought, wow, what a wonderful local unique experience I'm having here? It just doesn't happen. It's the local restaurants and bars that are literally the gathering places for the communities. It's something we celebrate in Utah Stories magazine to a great deal. It's just like this magazine and local journalism would not exist without the support of local bars and restaurants. So that, the government says they're allocating $350 billion to help small businesses. And I just am not finding, at least many of the small businesses and local businesses I know, that have benefited massively from PPP, at least the smaller shops. And so they're opening up a new round. They started it on Monday of this week, where they were going to open up another round of $310 billion of funding. $60 billion of that is specifically allocated for small businesses who don't necessarily have a pre-existing relationship with a banker. We fall into that category. I didn't have any bankers on speed dial. I talked to my bank, Key Bank, a big, huge national bank. They told me just straight out I don't qualify. And then I read the rules that absolutely I do qualify. That KeyBank, the relationship manager for the corporate accounts, was talking for my small business group, Goldman Sachs Small Business Group, and she said I didn't qualify. I asked the question. She should have said I do qualify, because I do. I worked with a little bank called Continental Bank as a recommendation from somebody who was in my cohort. Looks like we might have actually qualified. That we still have yet to find out. But, it just goes to show you, if you want to know who's really got your back, it's really the small local service providers, small local banks, small local restaurants, bar. I just think that we got to keep our money circulating in the local economy if we want to maintain our social fabric. And that goes for banks too. I'm going to be switching to a much smaller local bank after this is all over. Hopefully Continental Bank will be able to provide it for me. And, it's one of those things where you learn your lesson as you go as a business owner. So another problem that has shown itself due to the generosity of the federal government is a lot of employees who have been laid off are realizing they can qualify for amazing benefits right now. They've extended unemployment benefits to 4 months, and they're giving even more money through this CARES Act, an additional $600, up to $600 per week on top of existing unemployment benefits. So the situation that's created is a lot of people who have been laid off at bars, restaurants, a little bit lower socioeconomic conditions. They're like, you know what? I'm going to just stay home and not work. You can keep your PPP money. I'm just going to ride this out for the next 4 months, take the summer off, maybe go on a road trip, whatever. That's happened to somebody in my cohort who operates a small outdoor retail business. She can't get her employees to come back to work. Just another problem on top of the other problems that we're having with the government deciding they're going to just leave the paper printing press of money just running on overtime, printing billions of dollars to help people out. The parachute approach of just dumping money on people, even just, poor workers, while I know that generosity seems to be a really great mechanism in order to keep the economic activity flowing, if people don't go back to work, how are small businesses going to survive? If people aren't incentivized to go back to work, why are they going to go back to work? The mainstream media is not covering this topic. Our local media is not covering this. I'd really love to have your input on this, because I think it's going to be a big problem as we move into the later months of the summer. And I don't know what the state's going to do if federal unemployment benefits are at the federal level. It's not like they can stop that from happening. So, if you have any insight into that, please leave some comments below, because it's a topic being completely neglected by our media. How are we going to staff up as we need to with people receiving so much money from unemployment? Also, I'd like to tell you more about Utah-related news. There's a lot of news coming out related to Utah specifically, our testing capacity, our recovery rates, what's going on with our care centers. I want to get to that right after I tell you about our next sponsor. The Utah Story Show is brought to you in part by Canyon Meadows Grass-Fed Beef. Located in eastern Utah are beautiful Altamont pastures, which have some extremely happy cows, which I've personally met. These cows are so happy because they spend their entire lives in pastures, and they never are sent to feedlots where they're fed corn, which end up making them required to take things like antibiotics and steroids. Canyon Meadows is all natural. It's an amazing product. And right now, our supply chains are being disrupted in terms of meat. If you rely on meat, as I do, if you're on something like a paleo or keto diet, or you just do much better with meat in your diet, you'll really notice the difference immediately of eating grass-fed beef. It's lower in fat, it's higher in good cholesterol, and it is very, very good for you. Go visit Canyon Meadows right now at cmrbeef.com. Supplies are limited in meat supplies. I'm sure people will be stockpiling meat, as people did with toilet paper, as the supply chains are guaranteed to be interrupted on these ones. So go check them out right now, cmrbeef.com, and mention Utah Stories if you call them. They have pickup locations all over Utah, and you can get hooked up with a big case of meat or different cuts depending on what you want. All right, so what's going on in Utah? We are one of the few states that is reopening our economy to a limited degree. This is very, very good news. It couldn't happen soon enough. If we continued on the road we were on, as we mentioned in our last podcast, with every percentage point increase in unemployment, the percentage increases of suicide and drug overdoses end up being 3%. So every 1% increase results in 3% increase in unemployment and suicide rates. So this is great news. We're getting opened. This is going to be starting on Friday. The preparations have started, and Utah is in the really great position where we're able to do randomized testing. We've learned this is incredibly important. There's been a website set up called Crush the Curb. I encourage you to go check it out. It's where you can find the closest testing location and if you should be tested for COVID based on any symptoms you might be having. But the news is, and I hope you're following this, there are completely asymptomatic carriers out there. They don't have a temperature increase. They don't have a cough. They have no symptoms whatsoever, and they can carry COVID and be infectious. And this is probably the scariest news that's come out in the recent weeks, and because we just simply don't know who has it. So it's critically important we have randomized testing. And so Utah is one of the few states that's already started doing this. Spencer Cox, our lieutenant governor, spoke to Fast Company magazine, and he told them testing is huge. What we have to learn to live with is that we have to learn to live with this virus until there is an antiviral. We are not going to shut down our economy for 4 to 5 months, so this is what we have to do. So what the state has been doing is they've been putting together very detailed protocols for how they're going to handle hotspots and outbreaks. Of course, we're going to see higher increases in infection rates as we open up our economy and as we start going back to work again. This is a certainty. So what do we do to deal with the inevitable? Basically, people need to be tested all the time. We need to try to do, as the website describes, crush the curve, and we need to keep that level extremely low. So there will be requirements of people wearing masks in public places all the time indoors. Your likelihood of being infectious outdoors is way, way, way lower. So I'm kind of surprised to see all these people wearing masks when they're out, outside. UV light will kill the virus, as we've learned. But it's going to be extremely difficult over the next few months. It'll be really hard to go out and to go to a local restaurant and sit down without fear of either having an asymptomatic COVID in you, where you could spread it to somebody else, or vice versa with the restaurant employees you deal with. But I think we have to do it. It's like we have to support these places. And so we are going to be talking to a restaurant owner. His name's Ryan Peterson. He's going to be reopening his restaurant in just the next few days. And let's get on that call and talk to Ryan. All right. So first of all, What is going on at Diversion Eatery? How did you start your restaurant back in October? What do you have going on with food-wise that's special where you're at?
Okay, yeah, we have burgers, pizzas, tacos, salads. We have gluten-free options. We have vegan options. We have vegetarian options. So we got a little bit of a taste for everyone here. What I've done to a burger and everything like that, I was trying to create a stuffed burger, but I was unable to cook a stuffed burger. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of one of those. But that's what I was trying to create, but I could not cook one less than 20 minutes. So what I ended up doing is taking the top off the burger and kind of folding the burger up. That's why it's called a burger bowl. And then our most popular item on there is the gorgonzola. So the gorgonzola cheese, sauteed onions and bacon kind of go inside the burger. And then you can get on a bun with a chipotle mayo, lettuce, and tomatoes, or you can go open-faced style, so more the keto-friendly style, and kind of eat it with a knife and fork. How I kind of came up with these ideas, I've just been in this business for a while and have traveled a little bit here and there. So I've kind of egg bottles and sold pretty much everything on the menu of different cities and different places that I've kind of gone, and kind of like the unique style and the way they develop something. And I thought it'd kind of be a unique and nice way to put my menu together.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite new restaurants, Diversion Eatery in Marmalade, and you got to try their burger gorgonzola bowl. It's incredible. I can't eat gluten, so I love it. So Ryan, I asked him then, have you applied for the PPP loan and the EIDL loan? How has that worked out for you?
Yeah, I applied for the PPP loan. I did receive that just recently. I got the EID loan, just barely received that. Applied for the Salt Lake City one, which I did not get, to kind of go on there. So, and I applied for a couple other loans that are out there, the government loans as well, that I'm still waiting to hear back from.
Yeah, so for restaurants, there are state and county and city loans. Those are harder to get, but that's good to hear Ryan got the PPPL loan. So what are you planning for the May 1st reopening? What do you need to do about that?
I'm not sure how it's going to go. I just was listening to them today and everything, just waiting for the printed copy out. Sounds like, no more than 20 people, no more groups of 6 sitting in the restaurant. Everyone needs to be wearing a mask. Kind of keep your social distancing going. Your cooks need to wear a mask. So I'm trying to find out everything that I need to do to be in compliance, but I will open up according to what the state and regulation rules and laws are, and keep everyone as safe as possible. We've already practiced, sanitizing the whole place a lot, so we'll just keep on going that route as well.
Nice. So where can people find Diversion Eatery? I know you're located in North Salt Lake in the Marmalade District. How do they find you on social media and support you online?
Yeah, we're on Instagram. We have a Facebook account, diversioneatery.com. We got the good old-fashioned website, diversioneatery.com. You can find us on Google. You can find us on Yelp. We pretty much put ourselves out there everywhere on there. We're on the Nextdoor app as well in the Marmalade area, Marmalade District. But the best way to find us is diversioneatery.com, and it'll pull us right to your website, and you can click on order online, and we have all of our third-party apps, or you can do a pickup that goes directly to us and come pick it up. And also we do a small delivery now in this neighborhood. So if you're inside of at least a 2-3 mile radius, we'll deliver to you for free.
Awesome. And I've heard that the food delivery places are taking a huge chunk out of local restaurants. And if you can do curbside delivery, or like Ryan said, he has an app, he has a free delivery within 3 to 5 miles of his restaurant. That's an awesome thing to take advantage of, and it helps the restaurant owner out quite a bit more. But we'll keep you posted on how things roll out with the reopening of restaurants in our economy. And we'll especially provide you with the voice of local Utah. That's what we're all about at Utah Stories Magazine. We are still finding out if we are printing our May issue. It looks promising. We still need to be able to get out about 25,000 copies of the magazine. We might be partnering to get it directly mailed to customers. The way you could help out our magazine, we're not asking for money. We know this is the worst time since 9/11 to be asking people for money. The way you could help support us is you can subscribe to our newsletter, our digital newsletter. We have seen this amazing bump in traffic, and we're hoping that this huge traffic increase that we've had online, our digital pivot, as we've called it, results in advertising dollars coming through online as well as print. Print being a little bit sketchy, we want to give all of the advertisers who support Utah Stories Magazine a boost through our online mechanisms, the podcast, our digital newsletters, our website. And if you go visit utahstories.com, subscribe to our newsletter, go check out the stories we've got online. We had this one story blow up. It kind of blows my mind that it did so well. Provo's Most Eligible. I've been sitting on that story for about 3 months. I didn't want to put it in the magazine. I just thought it was a little bit goofy. These kids have started a website who go to BYU. They've started a YouTube channel where it's just like these kids doing make believe The Bachelor. I guess for real they're doing The Bachelor, but it's like really low production value. It's kind of really funny. So go check out that story on our website. It's blown up. It's gotten like 2,000 visits in the last couple days. It's kind of funny to go see what's going on with that. And our last sponsor I want to tell you about. Really thankful to our sponsors for making this program possible. It's just great they're still supporting us. But the Utah Stories Show is also brought to you by the Carpet Barn. The Carpet Barn is located in South Salt Lake. They've been in the carpet business for over 40 years. Their staff is helpful, friendly. They have a massive selection of carpet. They are going to save you a lot of money. They buy carpet in huge quantities that has a slight defect. The carpet that I bought, I cannot even find the defect. I have no clue what it is, but it's plush, it's thick, they let you look at it before they'll point out the defect. I think what it was is if you look at it from 10 feet high, the pattern is somehow a little bit off. But it's just, I'm so happy with my carpet downstairs. It's beautiful. The kids love it. We all play down there, watch movies, and it's a way better experience than the really threadbare carpet we bought at a big box store 10 years ago. So go check them out at South Salt Lake, the Carpet Barn, and tell them that you heard about them from the Utah Story Show. That would really help us out. All right. And the Made in Utah Festival, we have picked out a date. We are looking at July 11th. It's not 100% certain, but this craft beer festival we had set for being in May, and now we've moved it to July. Tickets are available. We are still planning on making it possible. We know social distancing rules will likely be in effect. We are planning on that, so we'll have elements that are outside. Breweries, food trucks probably outside, and inside we'll have to maintain social distancing rules, but all the best craft breweries in all of Utah will be there. It's going to be an amazing event. Go visit madeinutahfest.com to learn more about that. Get your ticket, reserve your ticket. We completely sold out of tickets last year online. We offered tickets at the door. We had this giant line and we had to turn away, I'm serious, 500 people. It's just a huge, huge event. People love drinking craft beer, and I'm sure in July, as social distancing is relaxed and we totally figure out how to use our masks and how to stay safe, this will be a massive festival. So go get your ticket, reserve it now before they run out. We offer a huge discount if you buy it online early on. It's $5. Is it still only $5? Yeah, it's $5 still if you buy it online, and that helps this program out as well, of course. So thank you for watching the Utah Story Show. Thanks to Tyler Bond and Connie Lewis for their production support. Thanks to Golda Hukic-Markosian. She publishes these. She does an awesome job. I forgot to thank her 2 episodes ago, where she was the one who brought on the distillery owners. She helps a massive amount with the podcast as well. So, and thank you for watching. This has been Rich Markosian, and I'll see you next time.